In this brave new world of transferring, breaking contracts, and buyouts, one of the underlying issues is just how the buyouts operate, who gets what, and how much money is really on the table. And this is really a topic that I'd been delving into, but hadn't been able to get a very clear view of until very recently. And I think Ross Dellenger did a really good job of writing it all down and really helping us understand just what the business of college football is going to look like, as I think it best resembles European soccer and the transfer fees that are paid out in the English Premier League, in La Liga, in Serie A, even MLS, and the like. Let's talk about what is at issue and how perhaps LSU might have had to pay Damon Williams $13 million, or I should say, would have to pay $13 million to people plus Damon Williams for his services had he become the new quarterback at LSU. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year-round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. Are you interested in this conversation around buyouts and contracts as it relates to college football players? I realize for some of you, this is really irritating to you because it is changing everything you know about college football, and it's turned off a lot of people that like the sport, to which I say, we'll see you in August. But I understand it. And since you're here, I'm going to assume that you're a wonk like me and you very much enjoy this part of the sport as it's developing and learning how it goes and trying to be at the cutting edge of these discussions, because these, frankly, are going to come up more and more often. And the better versed you are in it, the better fan you're going to be of your team. So I actually want to take a moment here to just underline what it is that we're talking about here, because buyouts are the new way of the world in college football. And I'm going to read this excerpt from Yahoo Sports, Ross Dellenger, because I think it's going to be helpful to all of us, and also give a little bit of commentary and a little bit of what I learned when I asked other people who told me things without attribution, right? So the language here is, we are choosing today to write about buyouts. Good. Yes, buyouts, not the ones found in coaching contracts, but this is sort of a new idea for buyouts found in school revenue share contracts, athletes themselves. Buyouts for coaches are pretty straightforward, right? You want to fire a guy, you're going to pay him probably what's left of the contract or a percentage of what's left for the contract, usually a settled amount, sometimes the full amount, right? You know how that works. And buyouts for coaches have become astronomical, right? Paying Jimbo Fisher $76 million to go home so you can go get Mike Elko and pay him a lofty sum as well, right? So this is really not new. And as far as the math is concerned and the money is concerned, it is new in as far as how we are accounting for it for players in the revenue sharing age of college football. So Dellenger goes on, here's the gist. When a school acquires a player under contract from school B, school A must pay an stated or requested buyout in that player's revenue share contract, then file that paid buyout into the CAPS roster management system with the new player revenue share contract, and most important, reduce their revenue share pool in the next year by the total amount it spent on buyouts in the previous year per the House settlement rules codified by the NCAA. Plenty of schools are paying buyouts, right? And have paid buyouts during the transfer cycle. In fact, several athletic administrators told us that they have alerted the College Sports Commission about the buyouts they've paid and received from other schools to ensure the rev share pool reductions next year are accounted for. And that's a big one, right? Because there's only so much you're supposed to spend on this. Buyouts even pop up during, like Dabo Swinney's tampering news conference, and the allegations made by him that Pete Golding texted then Clemson signee Luke Farrelly and said, "I know you're signed, but what's the buyout?" And he's got the receipts. So two very public situations to delve into here. And there are plenty of private ones played out during the transfer portal window that had made us, all of us, curious about buyouts and or liquidated damages found or not found in revenue share contracts. Damon Williams, quarterback at Washington, ended up staying at Washington, and Darian Mensah, quarterback at Duke, who ended up settling with Duke to transfer to Miami. So both of those revenue share contracts featured fairly standard language, right? Which I think is important here. But as he points out, in situation number one, the player and potentially player's new suitor, LSU, thought it too expensive to break the contract, right? Firstly, Washington was likely requesting from Williams or his new suitor the value of his deal, which is $4 million. Second, the new school would have to face the $4 million reduction in salary from their revenue share pool that is estimated this year to be around $21 million. And thirdly, this new school, LSU, would need to pay Williams likely $5 million or more. And then that brings the grand total to the $13 million that I mentioned before for one single player, right? Then situation number two, Mensah wants out of Duke. He breaks a contract. They want to settle. And while nobody knows exactly what that number is, safe to say the $4 million that they were going to pay Darian Mensah, they would like back from somebody who paid it. Who knows? Maybe Mensah, maybe not, so that he can go transfer to Miami and probably get paid just a little bit more to play quarterback there. All of this is new to college football, and all of this is speaking to just where we are in the sport. And I generally like having these conversations out loud because I think smarter fans are better fans, and the show is as much about making you smart about college football as it is anything else, really, because we can have better conversations, deeper conversations. We can find out what we want the sport to be. I think everybody agrees that they want to know what the rules are. And more importantly, they want those rules enforced. And that is where we are lacking in college football today. We just don't have a great enforcement arm. It just doesn't exist. And there's not a penalty that really reaches the level that we would want, that we all feel is necessary to curtail tampering or breaking a contract, right? Now, if it's as much as just paying the buyout's got to be more, right? The buyout's got to be more than the contract is worth. And sometimes in college, with coaches, it is. And I think we're going to get there. The other part about this that I think is really the silver lining around an otherwise really gray cloud is if you develop a player who turns out to be really good and someone wants him after he enters the transfer portal, you could have a stipulation in a contract with him that you got to pay this buyout to get him to wherever it is, and it could be tiered, right? So if you got an FCS player that is engendering great competition for his services from the Power 4 level, you might have an escalator where a Group of 6 team might not have to pay as much, but a Power 4 team might, right? These are all new ways to revolutionize and grow revenue at your prospective school. And I genuinely believe that that is a great way to go, because if you look in European soccer, a small club can become profitable very quickly by developing great players that end up at Man City, that end up at Juventus, that end up at Barcelona, Real Madrid, that end up at Newcastle, right? Among others. And that is a great way to fund your club until such time as you can compete with the big boys. I think it's a good business model. And I expect many smaller schools will start to put it into motion, if for no other reason than to fund themselves. Because now we're looking at a place where not everybody gets to play college football and know they're going to make money. Not everybody gets to be Indiana. What's one of the things that you can do to help bring your school to the forefront of profitability? Find great players who are undervalued and raise them up. Play some money ball here, right? Guys that are really good at one thing or another become valuable. My favorite example of this is actually what Gary Patterson used to do at Texas Christian. He used to find 2-star and 3-star recruits, no-star recruits that might have been playing quarterback, might have been playing wide receiver, might have been playing running back, wherever they were at their small high school, and he blows them up into defensive ends, linebackers, safeties, and teaches them how to play ball, and they become outstanding players. He would do this over and over and over again. And that's just identifying players with the kind of intangible gifts, talent, we would call that, length, size, speed, and then teaching them to play the game the way that you need to see it played. I mean, that's all up and down the board. And I think the more that you can do that as a coach and become really good at your talent evaluation, the better off your program is going to be. I really do expect this to be the way of the world, but it is important that the buyout language is as clear as it seems to be, and affecting the revenue share pool seems to be a bigger deal than paying the buyout itself, because until that threshold goes up by quite a bit, people are going to be hamstrung with how much they can pay out of that pool. And then the rest of that, well, we'll find out.